A strange yet compelling point that writer Peter Kingsley makes in his work is that foundational concepts underlying civilization were channeled by people, usually mystics and prophets, but sometimes political and scientific leaders. Kingsley writes that the role of the prophet is someone whose job is to speak on behalf of a greater power, on behalf of someone or something else. The rational logic of materialist science and the world's major religions and philosophies all have their origin in Circuit 6 communication with archetypal entities. The mythical Taoist Zhuangzi, the butterfly dream guy, said, "Men honor what lies within the sphere of their knowledge, but do not realize how dependent they are on what lies beyond their knowledge." I'll share some examples of scientific and philosophical knowledge transfer experiences. There's the case of Ramanujan, a young Indian man living in poverty who found a mathematics textbook. Working in isolation, Ramanujan was able to rederive 100 years of Western mathematics on his own. He credited his work to the divine providence of Mahalakshmi, a goddess. He said that he dreamed that he was presented with scrolls of complex mathematical work in front of his eyes by her male consort. There's the case of the pre-Socratic philosopher Parmenides. Peter Kingsley writes extensively about Parmenides, who was one of the earliest ancient Greek philosophers. He is known as the father of metaphysics and arguably the father of Western logic, since he is the first in the historical record to use deductive arguments to justify his claims. Parmenides wrote that he received these ideas from meeting a goddess during a visit to the underworld. There's the case of Pascal. Pascal was a prodigy who is considered a founder of modern mathematical theory. He also made notable contributions to the fields of physics, theology, and philosophy. Pascal had a powerful vision one night. He wrote about his experience and kept the account in his vest pocket for the rest of his life. This was discovered by others after his death. It read, "From about 10:30 at night until midnight, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, not of the philosophers and of the learned, certitude, feeling, joy, peace, God of Jesus Christ, righteous Father, the world has not known you, but I have known you. Joy, 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 tears of joy." End quote. After this experience, Pascal became strongly religious. He went on to scribe the Pensies, an influential philosophical and religious document. And finally, there's the case of René Descartes. Descartes has often been called the father of modern philosophy. He's the man who gave us the famous words, "I think, therefore I am." On the night of November 10th, 1619, he had 3 dreams which changed the course of his life and Western history. In the third dream, a stranger told him a poem and he was presented with 2 books. The stranger disappeared and Descartes concluded he was a messenger from God. After this experience, he came to believe that the dreams were telling him that the pursuit of reason and truth were his destiny. As shown with Pascal, Circuit 6 activations happen within a religious context. And often the details of strong Circuit 6 activations are hard to separate from religious overtones. On the left is an African medicine man. Native medicine people are the first religious figures in the historical record. The role of medicine person can still be found in native cultures around the globe. They conduct rituals to enter altered states of awareness that they call spirit realms. These rituals are mostly comprised of music, dancing, and straining the body and physically through fasting and other methods. Some medicine people use psychedelic plant medicines, but some don't. Native medicine people around the globe often report that they encounter entities in these spirit realms. If they do have such an encounter, the medicine worker's responsibility is to interpret and share what they've learned from that entity. It's believed that putting this knowledge to use fosters healing for individuals and the community as a whole. Classical divination is often thought as fortune-telling, but it can actually be better understood as a method for human communication with the divine. Here's a photo of the traditional Chinese divination practice, the I Ching. You'll see some coins and some yarrow sticks there. Chinese divination is thought to have started in prehistory and is still practiced to date. The ancient Greek ruling class made few major decisions without consulting oracles, such as the oracle at Delphi, pictured above the I Ching. Key figures from major world religions can be said to have had powerful Circuit 6 activations. Some examples are Zarathustra, the prophet who started the first major monotheistic religious movement in the historical record, the Jewish prophets in the Torah, and the Christian Old Testament. There are several stories of entities communicating with key players within the Christian narrative. Mary, the mother of Jesus, and her husband Joseph, and several others spoke to angels. Mary Magdalene and the apostles encountered a disembodied Christ on several occasions after the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth. St. Paul, who apparently never met Jesus of Nazareth in the flesh, communicated with Christ in a vision that changed the course of his life and the next 2,000 years of world history. In Islam, the Quran was recited to the Prophet Muhammad by the Archangel Gabriel.